Good evening. So happy you're tuning in to Good News on Entertainment tonight. I'm Carley Boyette. A little later in the show, we're going to hear about the latest film to debut on Great American Pure Flix. It's a faith-based Western that brings a lot of grit and masculinity to the small screen. But first tonight, it's all about music. Over the summer, some of your favorite Christian artists performed together at Red Rocks. And if you're bummed that you missed it like myself, well, the concert is coming to you at a local theater. Ryan Stevenson is one of the artists that performed on this special night, and he has one incredible testimony.
It's pretty surreal to be here. I'm very excited and thankful.
I kind of played everywhere else that I wanted to play except Red Rocks, so I finally got to check out my bucket list.
We're back at Red Rocks.
We're back! Ryan, I'm excited to get some time with you. So much to talk about. How are you doing?
I'm good, ma'am. Thank you for having me. What an honor, what a blessing. Super cool.
Yes. We have to start with the music, and we have to start with Red Rocks because this is, I feel like Taylor Swift is getting a lot of attention. She's got a concert coming to the theater. Well, check this one out. I'm so excited about this.
You know, I mean, I love that. It's so cool to see something that is, I mean, this Red Rocks thing is such a special night, and it's in such a special place, and not everybody's able to get all the way out there,
It's on my bucket list. I haven't been, and I love live music, and I feel like this is going to give me a little taste until I can get there.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was on mine as well. I mean, everybody wants to play Red Rocks, and when I got the opportunity to do it, I was just emotional all day.
Yeah.
It just felt
Did it live up to the hype? Talk about actually performing. What is it about that venue that you think is so, for those that haven't been yet, what is it?
I think it's a combination of things. Really, it's, you're outside and you're in a natural rock formation spot where the history of that was some of the native people years and years and years ago, they used to come out to that area and they would sing, they would celebrate there. And then as time went on, church groups would actually go out there and sing and practice their choir because the sound was so amazing in that stretch of rock. And so just the history of it for one, and I feel like just what that venue represents as far as not everybody gets to play it. And if you do get an opportunity to play it, it's a big deal. It's a special opportunity that is really difficult to get. And so for me, and if you know anything about me and my story and my history, Ryan Stevenson being at Red Rocks is it's a miracle. So,
we're going to talk about that in just a second. Brag on the other artists too, because I can imagine how amazing that must have been too, just to be with that many creative minds, that much talent together in one place.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I think the thing I really love about our industry in Christian music is that it's small and it is tight knit, but because of that, it's like, I know we're all family, we're all friends. It feels like we're just kind of there together anyways. And it makes it all the more special when you get to show up and be involved like that. And actually, going out and performing in that place, even the audience, because of the way that venue is set up, there's 10,000 people. It feels like there's 10,000 people kind of in your living room, and we're just all together too, singing along. And as everybody sings and that sound rises up into the rocks, it's a really beautiful experience.
Oh, I can't wait for people to see this and celebrate together and sing along together in the theater. This is just going to be amazing.
I love it.
All right, let's go back to what you shared just a little bit. And I know a lot of people have heard your story, but then there's a lot that still haven't. So I'm honored for you to share a little bit of really how your music career started. And I love your background. Was you a paramedic or I mean, I have a brother that's a firefighter, so I want to make sure I get it
Yeah.
right. But what were you actually doing while you were kind of just beginning with music?
Sure, that's a great question. I worked as a paramedic, not a firefighter. I was on a county service. We worked for the county, so I was just the EMS side of things, just the medicine, the paramedic stuff. Because of my paramedic job, that was the only reason that I got really into Christian music. And I should tell that really quick, but
Yes, I know. So because it's literally, it's like God sent down a lightning strike and said, "Here,
literally,
let me get this supercharged for
yeah.
you."
I'm working as a paramedic. I'm at work on this just one particular day in October, uh, and I get called out to a lightning strike for a 39-year-old female. And sure enough, we get up there, and this freak storm had just come out of nowhere. I mean, it was crazy. I remember sitting in the ambulance and seeing this thing come through, and then as soon as it got there, it was gone, and it was a gorgeous day. But right after that storm left, our tones went off and we got dispatched to a call for a lightning strike. 39-year-old female, sure enough, we get up there. Here's a lady who was out hiking in the hills with her family. Lightning gets her right in the top of the head. She goes down, not breathing, no pulse. I mean, cardiac arrest full on. And it took us a while to get there. She's up in the mountains. Upon our arrival, I pretty much knew she wasn't going to make it. And she had her two kids with her and her mom. It was a pretty stressful scene. I just told my team to get her in the ambulance, and we would just drive her to the hospital. I didn't want to leave her out there in the rain and the mud, especially not in front of her family. So I thought it just best we get her in the car, her in the ambulance, and drive to the hospital. Long story short, I'm in the ambulance on our way to the hospital. I intubate her, so I put a tube in her lungs. I start breathing for her with a bag valve mask, IVs. We're doing really good CPR. I end up reviving her in the back of the ambulance, and she's almost conscious when we arrive at the hospital. Fast forward, she makes a full recovery. She's in rehab for a while. She's on a ventilator for a while, but she comes out of it and she's fine. And months and months later, her and I connect and we meet up. And we don't share the same faith. We're, very different in so many ways, but we just kind of have this strange kindred connection. And she just sees something in me. She says, I want to be there for you, however, whatever that looks like. Well, I had this opportunity to get into a recording studio and record some songs just as an independent guy playing in coffee shops. Well, she gave me some money. I need to tell this because it's so important. She said, if you need anything ever from me, I want you to come to me. I want you to be there. I want to be there for you. I had this opportunity to go into this recording studio, but I needed some money. And I didn't want to ask anybody else. And so I told her about it. I said, I have this opportunity. Do you want to help me? And she goes, well, how much do you need? And I said, I need like $4,000. She's like, huh. She's like, that's really interesting because just a couple days ago, this retroactive disability check from my insurance company from my lightning strike accident just showed up out of nowhere. And I don't know what it's for. And I've never seen it. And it's just sitting over there on my computer. I know what that check is for. And she gave me that money. I recorded my 5-song demo, and which ultimately kind of landed me in the sphere and in the under the wings of this guy named Toby McKeon and Goatee Records. So that's just a tiny little tip of the iceberg. My story's nothing short of a miracle. It's always 11th hour. It's always the unconventional. It's always the wilderness, mysterious, mystery-driven surprise thing that's just how it works for me. Nothing is laid out really clear.
No wonder why you had to write a book.
You know, that's the thing too, is like I never ever wanted to write a book. In fact, I was so adamantly against it. I was like, I'm not.
Why? I feel like writing music and writing a book can't be that far off, right?
I know. I you would think. I just didn't want to take the time and have to sit there and think about my life to that depth. But once I started, I figured, okay, what would it look like if I actually just started writing down my story? So I was in the back of a car one day. We had 10 hours to drive to Virginia. I'll never forget it. And I started writing. I said, what would the first chapter of my life look like? And I actually started with my parents. And I started how like they met and where they were from and their history a little bit and how I kind of came into the picture. And I did it, and it just like ignited this creative therapeutic thing. Just writing about my mom and dad kind of sparked this whole like, oh man, I'm gonna just keep going. And so I wrote my. I didn't have a ghostwriter or anything. I wrote it all in a couple weeks.
I think you had a Holy Ghost writer. I think
Yeah,
that's what it was.
exactly. That's right. The Holy Ghost, man. He was with me the whole time.
Hey, before we run out of time, what is your message? You have such powerful music that I think provides so much hope for people. And in the midst of, man, what can look really tragic and what can look like some of the biggest struggles and some of the most painful times, you provide so much hope. What would you like to say for anyone watching today?
I think the most precious and powerful thing about every one of us, because we're so intricately and uniquely crafted from the Creator, from Abba, the most precious thing about every single one of us is our story. It's our testimony. It's vulnerability creates a lot more trust, not less. I've learned that. And the authenticity that comes out when we are able to open up, we would be able to, as Christians, we would be able to set so many more people free if we were just willing to be honest. And I know that can be scary, but my message these days, and I'm never going back, is uh, authenticity. There's freedom, there's healing, there's revival, not just for you, but for everybody around you. It shifts the spiritual atmosphere when we are willing to just be vulnerable. And I think the thing that the Lord has been really teaching me in this last season, since COVID really, uh, has been just let your guard down and just be approachable, be authentic, um, be a son. Like we're just sons and daughters of Abba. He is a dad, and I think I pray that we, all of us, we just begin to get rooted and established in the fact and the knowledge that we are beloved sons and daughters of the King. As Second Corinthians says, we're the righteousness of God in Christ. That is the gospel. I mean, that's the best news ever.
It is the best news, man. What again, I could talk with you for hours. I love hearing your
Mm.
heart and how God has used you and your story, and I hope it encourage others, like you said, to be vulnerable. And we all have a story, and I think if we all looked at our past and said, "You know what, God, how can you use it?" Um, I hope we encouraged others to do that as we talked here. Ryan, I'm so eager to see what's next for you because I know your story is not done. That's the best part of this whole thing is that I just know there's so much more ahead for you. So congratulations on all the success. We didn't even get to, you just debuted on the Grand Ole Opry as well, but we're just going to have to check in again.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Carly. I would love that. Seriously, and it's really been sweet. It's really cool talking to you.
'Cause you alone are the anchor when my sails are torn. Your love surrounds me in the eye of the storm.
KLove Live at Red Rocks will be in theaters Monday and Tuesday, November 6th and 7th at 7 p.m. local time. The film will feature live performances of brand new songs, never before seen backstage footage, and behind the scenes content, plus interviews from some of today's chart topping Christian artists like Ryan Stevenson. All right, for ticket information, just go to fathomevents.com. All right, now to a film you can watch from the comfort of your own home. Birthright Outlaw is now streaming on Great American Pure Flix. It's a faith-based Western that is in a category all on its own. Before we talk with the star of the film, Lucas Black, let's take a look at Birthright Outlaw.
Marriage is a promise to stand firm when it's right. Smells good.
Well, don't you clean up nice.
And to bend when it's necessary.
Daddy, that's Mama talking.
You sure it was her? With a 99% certainty.
Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men.
Get inside.
What?
If you have ever trusted me, trust me now. Hope.
Hide.
Can you think of any reason why the house gang would come for Hope? If there's anything at all that can help us, could save your daughter's life.
Martha.
I am so sorry. My name is Rose. William, the King of Hearts, is my father.
She is a known criminal.
We will go rescue Hope, and when we have brought her safely home, I will remand myself to your custody.
Rose Bridges, place you under arrest. Best thing you can do right now is pray.
Lord, if you know another way, now's the time to suggest it.
May want to consider this preacher.
I prayed.
I just want to go home.
Darling, you are home. And as soon as your mother returns, we will be a family again.
You're the only chance I got to save my daughter.
You're just going to slow me down.
Well, then teach me what I need to know.
Shoot from the heart, and you'll always shoot true.
Reverend, I don't think you have the guts. The only thing that matters is hope.
With God's love, I could start over. I saw in you that love from beyond.
She didn't have an easy life, but you always stand together.
This is over!
It's your birthright.
Lucas, I've been excited to get some time with you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Carley, how you doing?
Good. According to your socials, you know, if you're not making movies, you're out hunting or fishing. I mean, I'm just glad to get you indoors for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. We spend a lot of time outdoors, my family and I.
Hey, no shame from us. I love that. I love seeing that. Let's talk about this movie, though, first. And my first thought is I am in a family that absolutely loves Westerns, and there's just not a whole lot of them out like this one that is just getting ready to come out here. So I'm so excited to get a movie like this. I'd imagine when you read the script, you went, okay, this is something different.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know, so this is my third kind of faith-based film in a row, you know, and so it's been a goal of mine to kind of create some content that will be a little more appealing to men, because you ladies don't have a problem watching the faith-based films, and so that's great. I appreciate that. Thank you guys for that. You know, but a Western, right? Most men like to sit down and watch a Western. We know what we're going to get. There's going to be a good guy. There's going to be a bad guy and a gunfight somewhere in there. And so that's awesome, right? My character, you know, I play a husband and a father. There's one pivotal point in the movie where he has to make a decision to step up and to protect the relationships that mean the most to him, to protect his marriage, to fight to save his daughter. And so I think that's going to resonate with a lot of guys, you know, and we don't really see movies like that. where the father is taking the leadership role, and he's doing everything he can to fight to save his family, and ends up, becoming the hero at the end. And so that's good, right? That puts husbands in a good light, puts fathers in a good light. I think there's a hunger for that and a need for that, and people are thirsty to see movies that do that. So I'm excited for everyone to see it. Looking forward for everybody's feedback, because I think you're going to enjoy it.
Well, and it's this term, and I've seen you use it too, this masculinity, I think where we need to allow men to embrace that and it's not that Westerns haven't been around, but I don't know if they've been in this faith-based world as much. And,
Yes.
It's okay to be a Christian and have this faith-based element that you love, but then also be really masculine about it too.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So like I said, my character has to step up and fight for his family. And I think there's a lot of parallels to that. We've had it made here in America for a long time. And I guess it kind of breed, some complacency in us as men, because it was kind of, I feel like it's fairly easy to put food on the table. It's fairly easy to provide for your family, because the opportunity that's out there here in America to live the American dream. But the enemy, and I hope people fathers take away from this movie that there is an enemy out there, right? And he's wanting to steal, kill, and destroy the relationships that mean the most to us. And so we have to step up and fight that battle today, whether we realize it or not. It's out there. So there's a lot of parallels, to, yes, in the Western time, to this story, but today as well. There's ideologies out there that's just wanting to take our kids in the wrong direction, away from what's normal. And so it's time for us parents, all of us, fathers and mothers, to really step up and fight for our families and our children's lives.
It's interesting, while I have you on the line here just for a couple minutes, you mentioned this is your third faith-based kind of movie in a row, and I know it's not the easiest thing when you go into the entertainment industry to start doing these, but I just appreciate that you are giving your gifts and your talents. Talk a little bit about that, why I would assume there is a purposeful decision to go down this lane. And again, what I get excited about, in 2023 is the quality that's coming out now. And I think this latest one that you're a part of is such a great example of that.
Yeah, appreciate that. It kind of, God orchestrated it all. When I decided to leave NCIS New Orleans, I took a year. I call it a sabbatical, right? He told Ezekiel, in the book of Ezekiel, it says to lay down on your side for like 390 days. So I took a year off, right? 365 days to really connect with my Heavenly Father, to really connect with my wife and spend time with my family, because we sacrificed a lot of time shooting the television show, NCIS New Orleans. Well, he brought this script to me. I didn't have an agent. There was a pastor in Loveland, Colorado. His name's Eric Ludy. We were at a homeschool convention, and we were just talking about faith, family, and life. And he just said, I got a script that a friend wrote you might be interested in. Well, 3 months later, I wasn't eager to get back in front of the camera, was in a good spot, loving life, spending time with the family. And he sends me this script, Legacy Pete, which is about fatherhood. And I read it, and I'm like, man, this is good. It's a good story. But I was like, I don't have to do it, somebody else can do it. Well, my wife, I asked my wife, I was praying about it. And I said, I want you to read this script that Eric sent us. And so she reads it and she comes to me with a lump in her throat, tear in her eye, and says, I don't know why you wouldn't do this movie, because it just, spoke to our hearts where we are, the season of our life right now. And we've been praying about what the next step is going to be and how can we encourage people to know the value of marriage, know the value of having kids, right? And spending time with your family and being there for them, being present in their lives. And that's what Legacy Peak, that story, if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go check it out, is all about, And so we did it, and it was a blessing to be able to work with people united together, working in one accord for the same purpose, to glorify God. And so that kind of got the ball rolling, right? And so now I've done 3 in a row.
I love it. Well, keep them coming. Don't stop at 3. We need more. And again, I just get so excited about telling people about all these great films now. They spark conversations. They get us thinking. And, some of us may not, feel comfortable to invite someone to church, but you know what? You say, hey, go check out this movie. And it can get those conversations started. So thank you so much for spending some time with me. Congratulations on all these movies. And again, I look forward to talking with you again soon on the next one. Because again, I have a feeling God's going to be keeping you in this lane for a little while.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, Carley. I'll say one thing about Birthright. It will spark some conversations. It's a really deep movie. I don't really like to throw that term out there a lot, but it's got some deep theological themes to it. And, in the end, it's about God's transformative love. So I hope people come away from this movie knowing that it doesn't matter what they've done in the past, that God still wants to be in relationship with them, still loves them, and he's waiting for them to come to him with open arms. And that's what I love about this story. So make sure you go check it out.
And again, both Birthright Outlaw and Legacy Peak that he mentioned there are available to stream today on Great American Pure Flix. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. I'm Carley Boyette. Next week, we already start looking ahead to Christmas. That's because Journey to Bethlehem will soon be out. We, of course, will have a look at the musical that is unlike anything you've ever seen or heard. I look forward to seeing you right here next week on your Christian Television Network.